Today, I'm going to show you how to OTK your opponents with the Blackwargreymon deck despite having BT11 Greymon X Antibody restricted down to 1. Digimon fans, welcome back today, and we'll be showcasing the OG Blackwargreymon OTK deck. It is unfortunate that the Greymon X from BT11 is now restricted, but it is still not enough to stop this build. The promo Blackwargreymon from the Great Legend Dash pack makes a resurgence as it can OTK your opponents with its Digiburst ability. Although the main core of the build is very similar to the regular Blackwargreymon X, the playstyle is very different. With all the new support and X Antibody cards that we've got so far for the Greymon line, it is very easy to build a large stack with multiple sources, which will be a resource for your promo Blackwargreymon to Digiburst many times and swing continuously. Like always, I'll be showing you guys how to do that with the combos, but first, let's take a look at what I got for the build today. Alright, Digi-Egg cards, still the same usual, 4 copies of the BT9 Koromon. DP is really important, especially even more important for this deck because you want to make sure that your Blackwargreymon survives when it does any of the checks. So getting that extra 1000 DP is always very good during your turn, and 4 is really all you need. Like I said before, DP is great, DP is important, which is why we got the 4 copies of the promo Agumon here. And if you guys don't have this promo Agumon, you can easily substitute the Gallantmon starter deck Agumon instead, because it also gives extra 2000 DP, and your goal of this deck is really mostly trying to swing over at a player anyways, so that actually can come in very, very handy too. But otherwise, this one's the more consistent one because it always consistently gives you your turn extra 2000 DP, which is more than enough for what you usually really need anyways. But yeah, definitely 4 copies of some kind of DP buffing Agumon is what you really want to be looking for. Next, for our Searcher Agumons, we got 3 copies of the BT11. This one, review top 3, adding yourself 1 Greymon and 1 Omnimon. Very, very great. Again, prioritizing the DP Agumons is more important than the searching ones, but otherwise, searching is always great for the deck for sure. And then, of course, we also run the 1 copy of the BT8 Black Agumon. I personally really like this one because it reveals the top 4 cards of your deck, adding yourself 1 Greymon and 1 Dragonkin in its traits to your hand. So very easily, you can potentially hit 2 targets with this card very oftenly. The only downside is that it kind of ruins the Digivolving flow and the Digivolving stack because your level 4s don't really get to go on top of this as easy. Therefore, I decided to stick with 1 copy in this particular build at the moment, and still really good card though. And then, of course, you still need 4 Agumon X Antibodies, great searching, extra draw powered for Digivolving on top of your regular Agumon. Great for building your stack as well, so yeah, just one of the best searches in the deck too, because when you hard play it, you get to do the same thing. I actually uploaded this exact deck list on the Avault Club membership already, so if you guys want to see early exclusive community posts of first draft deck lists and constant updates that I make before anyone else, then be sure to join right now by clicking the join button. I'll also leave links with the icon on the top right and in the description box down below. Also, if you guys haven't done so yet, be sure to like and subscribe as it always really helps the channel out, and I thank you guys so much for the support. That's it for our level 3s. Let's talk about our level 4s. We're bringing back the aggressive playstyle, which I really like, where we have the 4 copies of the Starter Deck 1 Greymon. That gives you that security +1, becomes super crucial, enables more damage, enables the OTK even faster. I really like this card. That's the reason why I really like this build. This is the major difference right here now, because you want to go for those aggressive checks and swing in as much as you can and deal that damage so that you can actually OTK your opponents, which helps a lot, which is why I prioritize 4 copies on this one now. Then we also still have the BT5 one. Really great card because you can reduce Digivolve costs if you're ever Digivolving on the battle area. Otherwise, it gives you that extra 2k DP during your turn as well, which is going to be important and comes in handy to help buff up your top end as per always. And yeah, 2 is really all you need. Of course, the unfortunate limitation of Greymon X Antibody, we still want to play this one off no matter what because it's just that good of a card. Reducing your Digivolution cost is just so good, and giving that protection as well with its inhurtable with X Antibody option card underneath it is just, yeah, really important and really good. So you guys might be wondering, what's the substitute for it then, right? Then the easiest substitute for sure is going to be the BT9 Greymon X Antibody. Not only it synergizes very nicely with this deck because you can build multiple stacks to stack up for more Digiburst targets for your promo Blackwargreymon, which we're going to talk about more, but also it gives you that protection at the same time. Really, really great. And yeah, honestly, it just makes sense to play this when you don't have access to the 4 Greymon X Antibodies from the BT11. So this makes a comeback once again. Very, very great card. That's it for our level 4s. Let's talk about our level 5s. 4 copies of Metal Greymon. Very standard. Digivolving is still good. Being able to swing over unsuspended stuff is still also really good. And then deleting stuff with 3000 DP or less with its main effect as well when Digivolving. Really, really good card for sure. And of course, to build along the stack to continue and go on, you definitely want Metal Greymon X Antibody, Digivolving for 1 on top of Metal Greymon, and then otherwise you'll be Digivolving on top of level 4 black or red for 4 cost instead, getting to pop something that's 6k DP or less. Giving yourself de-digivolve and DP reduction protection is always very nice and fantastic. Really good against to counter against various matchups as well, especially in the mirror match too. And being able to trash security is also very good with its inheritable. But mainly we just want to be building the stack along together with it because this is a both black and red Metal Greymon, which is very, very crucial. And then for the one last one off tech, I do want to play at least one Metal Greymon Ultras mode. And still really good because you can Digivolve for 0 on top of a regular Metal Greymon. You can pop things as 5k or less. And exactly like Greymon X Antibody from BT9, it gives you the exact same protection that you need. So yeah, another great card just to continue building your stack even further so you can go for big Digiburst plays. That's it for all of our level 5s. Let's talk about our level 6s where, of course, we got the 3 copies of the promo Blackwargreymon from the Great Legend Dash Pack. Makes a comeback very easy. You Digivolve on top of a black Digimon specifically for 3 costs, which is why you really, really want to be utilizing those black and red Metal Greymons to go on top of it more consistently as possible. It has a very simple main effect. You Digiburst 2, and then you unsuspend this Digimon. So you guys can see why it's super important to rack up all those really key important inheritables for this particular deck so that you can go for those big combo plays, which again, I can't wait to show you guys. 3, this is your main Blackwargreymon that you're trying to get into right now instead. We also have 3 copies of Gaiomon. Gaiomon is definitely very suited for the aggressive playstyle. You can de-digivolve when digivolving. You can blitz and swing over stuff. It has reboot, security +1, all that good stuff to help you push games even faster. We all know that Gaiomon is also the better level 6 X Antibody to go into currently in the format, just because in mirror matches you can swing over your opponent's stuff, and that's just more valuable overall. It combos very nicely with all your other inheritables as well as the reboot trashing, security with the Metal Greymon, and so on. So this is definitely, again, the secondary priority, and you can easily go on top of Blackwargreymon with it as well. So yeah, 3 copies is what you want to be having running in this one. Then I still like to run at least one of the Blackwargreymon X. Still a very nice alternative Digimon to get into on top of your regular Blackwargreymon once you've done all your Digiburst combos. Any case, like, you can still, delete things, redirect attacks. It's still very, very nice overall to have this guy. So a one-off tech is not bad at all. That's it for level 6s. And for the simple level 7, again, you guys know I really like the BT10 Omnimon X Antibody. This one's the great one just to finish games. Being able to look at your opponent's security, bottom deck their Digimon, and do a whole ton of stuff with the combos is just what makes this card super good and just blends when the synergy with this particular build very well, because you're trying to go for game, you're trying to go for the big swings, and you're trying to finish your opponents as quickly as possible. So which is why this card is definitely still included for sure. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about Tamers. 2 Yuuyas, really, really crucial. Your memory tamer, but also giving you the extra 2000 DP when you Digivolve into a Greymon. And most importantly, it gives you option protection if you Digivolve on top of the same level. And it's going to be very important when you're going to your Blackwargreymon combos for Digibursting, because it can give you those option protection while you're swinging in for that big OTK play. So really, really important card. Really, really cool. 100%. You definitely want to see this card as often as well. Then, of course, the 3 cool boys. Once again, one of the best cards in the deck, best cards in the game for any X Antibody related decks. Drawing more cards, gaining memory, but when you Digivolve on top of the same level with X Antibody, 2 costs just to search. Really, really efficient card for sure. So yeah, 3 copies is still a must, I think. And then, speaking of searching, as we move into our options, 2 red memory boosts to do that, the same thing, find more pieces, gain more memory, very similar to what Cool Boy does, and yeah, fantastic card to have for sure. And then we got 3 copies of X Antibody right here. You guys can actually decrease this down to 2 instead if you prefer, and sort of bump up like an extra Cool Boy and an extra Yuuya or another extra red memory boost. Totally up to you guys, but I still like having the X Antibody option to, do those extra swings and Digivolve at the same time, which really helps. But now thinking back, I might argue on it. It's really based on your personal preference on what you want to play. I just like having 3 for the consistency. Although the protection you don't get as often anymore because you only have 1 Greymon X Antibody from BT11, so you don't need it as much. But like I mentioned, having those extra swings are always nice so that you can do your swing combos, Digivolve on top if you ever need to, from your level 5 into a level 6 directly, very easily. And then, last but not least, as per usual, 2 Hades Force, one of the best removal cards in the current game. Remove multiple things when you have a big guy on the board, and you can swing afterwards as well. And then with its security bomb, it just deletes something that with the highest play cost. So yeah, you guys know, this is a Blackwargreymon staple card that you have to have at least a 2 of, if not more as well. Okay, so that will wrap up for the deck profile and all the cards I'm going to show you guys. I don't really have any additional suggestions when it comes to other cards, but if you guys do have any cool suggestions, definitely let me know in the comments down below and share it with everyone. But let's just jump straight into the combo and how you want to be playing this deck, which is a little bit different compared to the regular Blackwargreymon X, which I mentioned before. Of course, you're going to be hatching your egg, and what you really want to be doing is, of course, you're going to be searching your pieces as per usual. These are very similar play styles that you want to be doing. Playing your Agromons as well, memory boost, Cool Boy, and being able to set up your Yuuya as soon as possible is also very crucial and what you really want to need to have. Now, sometimes you can also continue to Digivolve on top of Agumon with Agumon X, and then use Cool Boy and cycle through more cards and search more cards, which is always very nice. Otherwise, you might have to play them separately and whatnot. But now let's talk about the building stack process. What you really want to be building in your raising is you want to be, of course, Digivolving your Agumon. Ideally into your Agumon X here as well, so you can build more stacks for Digibursting. And then you really want to be seeing your Greymon here that gives us security +1. Now, super crucial at this moment, there is the Greymon X's that you can go into, but you're more often likely going to be seeing the one from BT9 from now on instead of the BT11 one. Now, the other thing is that, you're not really going to be utilizing its reduced Digivolution cost as much before, well, simply because you don't see it as often, but also you really want to be focused on building your stack in raising as carefully as you can. You want to be patient, you don't really want to move out, you only want to control the board if you have absolute great value in doing so. Because if you push out and try to control the board, you can get easily punished if your Metal Greymon level 5 or your level 6 gets removed for whatever reason. You have to be patient with this deck, which is different to the regular Metal Greymon sort of combos and the Blackwargreymon, which is why I'm trying to get into at this moment. If you do want to get into your Metal Greymon, sometimes it's, for us, we're always feeling really greedy. We want to wait for our opponent to make their plays and then sort of like have a Digimon on board and then come out with a Metal Greymon to de-Digivolve and pop something with 3k or less. Now, you have to keep in mind, like I mentioned, that's not something you really want to be doing as often. Therefore, you actually want to be Digivolving this in your raising instead. And this is where you sort of sit there. Because you don't have the Greymon X Antibody from BT11 to help turbo into it as much with the memory efficiency anymore, you have to be very careful. And like I said, you don't want to lose your stack. You have to build it up slowly so then you can get into your combo later on. So at this stage, at this moment, you're going to be at 3 memory with Yuuya. Your opponent's going to do their thing and pass you back to your turn. This is when you want to move it up. You move it up with Metal Greymon. Then next, you Digivolve for 1 into Metal Greymon X to pay the 1 memory, draw your card, get all that kind of protection effects going on as well. And then you can spend your Cool Boy to gain the memory back. Now, it's very important that you do this step and don't Digivolve your Metal Greymon X Antibody and raising, is because you want to utilize the maximum value from Yuuya by getting extra 2000 DP and the option protection for that particular turn. Now that you got all that set up in place, this is when you go into the Blackwargreymon here for 3 cost. At any given time in the middle, you can go into an Ultras mode for extra cycling and whatnot, but keep in mind that Ultras mode cannot Digivolve into Blackwargreymon, so you always need to sort of have a Metal Greymon X Antibody on top in the end to make sure you have the most efficient stack. But otherwise, this stack is very efficient itself already. You're at 0 memory at this moment, and whether you have red memory boost or not, it doesn't really matter as much, but this is when you want to go for those OTK combo. Your opponent's at 5 security, don't worry about it. What you're going to do is you're going to swing at your opponent's security. Your Blackwargreymon will be at 13, and then 13 plus another 3k right here. You'll be at 16k running into 2 checks. Barely anything should delete you from security unless if you run into a 16k or higher DP Digimon. Ideally, you should be able to go through their security with no problem at all. Now, what's next? Well, you're going to be Digibursting. So the funny thing is, you're going to be Digibursting these guys more so. You're not going to be swinging at your opponent's unsuspended stuff because you're not going to gain too much value from it. You're not going to be rebooting either. So these are the 2 sources you want to get rid of instantly for the most cases if you're going for that big OTK combo. Now you unsuspend, and then you swing for another 2 checks right here, and then you can finish off by crashing these 2, for example, or depending on what you have, right? Your opponent's going to be down at 1 security at this moment, and you really just need to swing in for those extra checks. So let's just say we take away these Agumons, you unsuspend, you swing again. You do lose that 2k though, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you might do it for the different procedure, because of the fact that you have Yuuya, you know you have option protection. So if you have option protection, you may want to Digiburst the Greymon X Antibody first at this moment instead. But at times when you don't have Yuuya, then this is when you really want to prioritize on keeping the Greymon X Antibody in your herdable for that extra protection. Anyways, your opponent's security is all gone now at this moment. Then you Digiburst the final 2 to unsuspend once more, and then you can swing for game. Now keep in mind, you don't have to Digiburst the same levels all the time. You can Digiburst any 2 sources. You can get rid of Koromon if you want instead, to sort of like maintain the Agumon for extra 2000 DP right here. That was just an example of how you want to be Digibursting. So keep that in mind. And yeah, that basically finishes off your opponents right there. And that's the OTK combo. Now, the other combo is, of course, you're not always going to be able to see your Blackwargreymon and go for that stack combo to sort of play that way, right? And this is why you still have Gaiomon right here. Now, with Gaiomon, this lets you sort of play the control aggressive style a little bit more. You can actually push it up, Digivolve into Metal Greymon, and if you're somehow able to retain your turn after paying the 4 memory, then that's fantastic. And then that's when you can either choose to go into Metal Greymon X, suspend Cool Boy and stuff like that, and then go into Gaiomon right here, and then go for heavy checks, 3 checks, and then you have Reboot, trash their security, and all that. Now keep in mind, the only other downside is you don't have blocker in this deck at all, so it's all aggression throughout from the beginning to the start, all the way to the finish, essentially. And otherwise, sometimes you might be having this Blackwargreymon and you Digiburst like a bunch of sources away to do its like unsuspending attacks and whatnot. And then sometimes you can even just finish it with a Gaiomon for 2 cost to swing for more additional damage as well if you really want to. And then we'll have Reboot and you have a Gaiomon sitting there, which is also really nice too. So that's also the few ways that you can play around with it. And of course, that's really how it is with this OTK Blackwargreymon deck. Very, very simple, very straightforward. You're just trying to swing into your opponent's security and you're just trying to beat them up as quickly as possible to win those games. So being patient is really the key. That'll wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. We've got lots more Digimon videos and content coming, so be sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. It's Avault signing out.